Hey guys, let's see the lighting. I can fix the lighting. It's late. Hi you guys, how's it going? You there? Is anybody out there in the late world of Facebook late right now? Put my hair pieces down. No big deal. How y'all doing tonight? Oh, it's late, you guys. It's been a day. It's Friday. My kids, I would like to jump on it earlier, but it was just mayhem today. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we have someone live. Hi there. How's it going? I'm just doing a little dance into Journey. I know a lot of people hate when we wait for everyone to jump on, but swipe left to see your viewers. Okay, let's do that. Cool. All right, I'll turn it down and get started since it's late, you guys. All right, hello. My name is Rima, and I am a gold leader. Actually, I think I might just turn it off. My name is Rima, and hello. I'm a gold leader, and I'm a mama to two and a holistic nutritionist, and I have a blog called Freshly Grown. I haven't blogged in a while though, so I don't know if I could call myself an actual blogger because Young Living hit the scene and kind of took over my life. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. A lot of y'all do. And I wanted to honor my talk, and so on the vulnerable side, and to honor my talk, I'm also a childhood survivor of domestic violence and a 19-year-old cancer survivor. And I want to tell you that circumstances in no way define you, not now or ever. That was just a lie we were meant to believe, and that we were told as children by fill in the blank, and it's just false. So there's that. Circumstances do not define who you are, where you're going, and what you're meant to be and do on this earth. Okay, guys? It's the truth. So there's that. And tonight I'm here to talk to you a little bit about vulnerability, and not only why authenticity is cool, but why it is way cool. So I could not do this talk tonight, though, you guys, I couldn't do it justice without pointing out Brené Brown's The Power of Vulnerability TED Talk. And if you guys haven't seen that yet, which I'm sure most of you have, but if you haven't checked it out, it's her TED Talk. Check it out after you watch this, or tomorrow in the morning when it's, not so late. But give it a full watch. It is so powerful and so incredible, and she just nails it on the head of vulnerability and what it all means. And basically what she did, she's a sociology researcher, and she compiled tons and tons and tons of research. I think something like 6 years of research. And then she ended up sending her kids away, sending her husband away for 4 days of intensive just hashing and deciphering and looking at all of the data. And what she came out with was, how do the wholehearted live? What is up with the wholehearted, and how do they live? And she was super she said she was 5th generation Texan, and their motto was lock and load, right? She didn't have any time for fluffy stuff or emotions or vulnerability or any of that, right? My story was very, very similar. I type A, I'm a red, I go. And then what ended up happening was I got hit at 19 with a tumor the size of a grapefruit in my chest cavity. And I was doing so much in high school that I actually took a break between high school and college, and ended up in the ER with shortness of breath, laughing like, I got to get out of here. I'm starting college soon. Like, I've already taken a year off. Let's get the show on the road. And the doctors and the oncologist came in and said, actually, we're going to need you to stay in town because you might have cancer. And the whole room stopped, as if you could hear a pin drop. And my whole world shifted. And what I then learned was one of the greatest gifts that I will ever have taken in my entire life, is that I am a human being, not a human doing. And God sort of stopped me in my tracks at that point, and we kind of did a reset for that year. And during that week, I didn't know if I would live or die. I had no idea what I had and what the diagnosis or prognosis or whatever would be. And it was earth-shattering. It was life-changing. And so I threw myself into looking at our food system, looking at what in the heck is going on, because they said to me that it was not genetic. In fact, 95% of cancers are not genetic. It was 100% environmental. Could be a link to agricultural pesticides. They weren't sure, because they can never say for sure, but it was 100% environmental. And that's when the light bulbs went off of something's not right here. I was 19 years old. So instead of being in college and eating top ramen, I was going to farmers markets and running hills because I took it seriously and I never looked back. And so I ended up going back to school for holistic nutrition, and then what I had gotten down, you guys, was I had gotten down the food piece. I had not gotten down the stress piece. I was running. I had a baby. I had a child that was, I believe, 3 or 4. I was pregnant. I was in school. I had started a blog, and I was working for an organic food company. And after I had before I had my second child, this was years later after the cancer, after I had my second child, what ended up happening is I got put on bed rest because I was going into preterm labor because I was type A and I could do it all, right? Like, we take on these things that we think we can just do it all. And our bodies, our mind, body, and soul are connected, and something's going to take the hit. And for me, it was my body. And I know a lot of you get where I'm coming from. If you have autoimmunity or anything that comes up for you. And after I had my baby girl, my thyroid and adrenals crashed out. I'm like, oh, sorry, my husband's killing a fly. That was scary. Okay. Anyway, let me get back to track because he like swiped it and I was like, oh. So anyway, but my thyroid and adrenals crashed hardcore. And what I again had to relearn was, yes, you may eat all the right things, but if you don't deal with your emotions, studies and research have shown that if you don't deal with your emotional life, you will never heal physically. You will always have the ailments physically if you never heal emotionally. Mind blown. And don't tell me that growing up in domestic violence did not have a direct correlation or impact into how that tumor formed in the first place. There's actually an article called The Oncology of Stress, and it's an incredible article. I can link to that also somewhere if I can find it. But it's an incredible impact on how stress affects the body, and how he saw 100 patients, or I believe it was a study, and he said, out of the 100 patients, every single one of them had a major stress factor 2 years prior to diagnosis, some kind of traumatic event or something. So it's really interesting, this emotional piece, this piece that I kept shoving to the side like she did, saying, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for yoga. Like, seriously, yoga? Like, I can't even, right? And like, I needed to go spinning or kickboxing or weightlifting because I take on the world. And I think a lot of us relate in this business and in this industry. We want to help everyone and we want to do all the things, especially as type A's or reds or moms who are doing this role and this role and this role, and then we're doing it all at the same time, and we about go crazy. Thank the Lord for our oils, right? So there's something that Brene Brown was looking at as how do the wholehearted live, and what she came out with were 3 themes that emerged as she spent those 4 intense days. What she came out with was, number 1, courage. And not to be confused with bravery. Courage, she said, to be imperfect. Hello, I'm a perfectionist. Like, what? The courage to be imperfect, to tell the story of who you are with your whole heart, to be 100% you without apology. I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely suck at this because I grew up as a people pleaser. I grew up just avoiding and living on eggshells to avoid the discomfort that would come with the wrath of being in a domestic violence situation or whatnot, or maybe it wasn't that severe or insane. Maybe it was you just wanted to be liked and known, and so you just formed yourself in ways that people would approve of you, right? So the wholehearted live with the courage to be imperfect and to tell the story of who they are with their whole hearts. The second thing was compassion. To be kind first to themselves and then to others. You cannot have compassion for others if you are first not compassionate to yourself. That's a hard one. That's self-love. And a lot of us think, I grew up thinking, even in the church, I thought that self-love was just, that new age voodoo kind of a thing. And, that we should die to self and put others first and all of that. But there's something about that self-love of saying of you were created with purpose and meaning and value, and you are meant to be exactly where you are, and you're supposed to be here, and owning that and loving yourself for that. So therefore you can go and love others and have compassion for others. You can't do it if you hate yourself inside or think you're ugly or whatever. How do you know if that's true for you? Listen to your self-talk. Listen to your negative self-talk. Do you speak highly of you when you look in the mirror? Do you go, oh my gosh, I look horrible today, right? So it all starts in the mind with our thoughts, and to have compassion means we have to be compassionate to ourselves first, and to love ourselves and to care for ourselves, which is, it's hard. The third thing was connection, and this is really interesting. Connection was the result of authenticity. So basically, to be connected to another was the result of being their authentic selves. And what their authentic selves were, they were willing to let go of who they thought that they should be in order to be who they are. You absolutely have to do that for connection. You have to let go of who you think you should be and just be who you are with the other person. They fully embraced vulnerability, and they believed that what made them vulnerable made them beautiful. That it wasn't bad or weak or all these things. It was absolutely necessary. They talked about it being necessary. The willingness to say I love you first, to do something where there are no guarantees, to invest in relationships that may or may not work out. Business builders. Vulnerability is the core, actually, of shame and fear. She talks about you cannot look at vulnerability without also looking at shame. Because at the core, vulnerability is the core of shame and fear, but it is also the birthplace of joy, creativity, belonging, innovation, and change. It is not weakness. It is exposure, emotional risk, and uncertainty. So the deal is, you guys, if you're, poo-poo on that fluffy stuff or whatnot, or you think it's for the birds, because let me tell you, I'm a recovering, not vulnerable person myself, right? I want to look like I have it all together. And I don't, let's be honest, none of us do. The deal is to go there within ourselves, to go to the discomfort, to go to the places that aren't comfortable. And let me tell you this, if you are in Young Living, you will have to go there. So if you think that you can be in this company and you think you're going to rank up without going there, you are mistaken. Let me tell you, ask me how I know. Hashtag ask me how I know. I was stuck in my business and I always tell people, if you get stuck, like builders are coming to me all the time. Oh, I'm stuck. I don't know, well, not all the time, but sometimes they'll say, oh, I feel stuck in my business, or I don't know where to go next or whatnot. Or we're repeating the same OGB over and over and over. The number one thing I tell them to do is go to work on yourself. The success or the rate at which you succeed is the rate at which you personally grow. And you can take that to the bank in Young Living. I think all of us would attest to that, right? The rate at which you succeed is the rate at which you are personally growing. So there was a point in my business where I had made a decision. It was a move that I had made, and I felt in my heart that I had made an error and I couldn't fix it. And instead of moving it through and letting it go and moving on, I got stuck on that over and over and over, and I couldn't get out of that place. So what happened? My OGB sat there for 6 months, about the same. My paycheck stayed the same, and I sat there without momentum, without movement. I did not know what to do or where to go. So what did I do? I went to work on myself, because that's all I knew to do. I was like, okay, well, I don't know. I don't know what to do. So what that means is there are a couple things you can do. You can AFT, which is aroma freedom technique. That stuff is completely transformative and powerful. If you have not done AFT, aroma freedom technique, get on that train. It is the most powerful emotional release with oils that I've ever experienced. The man who created it actually is a clinical psychologist who specializes in EMDR, which EMDR is a way to neutralize trauma in the brain. It's very effective. It's not like talk therapy and you're talking about your childhood crap or whatever. It's like this very intense, really amazing therapeutic thing that you can do. But supposedly, and he specializes, said that this is actually more effective, and the oils come into play, and it is phenomenal. Shout it out, or a heart, or anything if you guys have done it. It is fabulous. Another thing that you can do is you can pull out this book right here and start to go to work. You can get a business coach, you can get a counselor, or whatever. I know people don't like to go there or do that kind of stuff, but I'm telling you what, to lead a team, think about it. If you're going to be a diamond, if you're going to be a Royal Crown diamond, to lead a team at that level, to deal with that much force and magnitude and people and issues and things that come up, you have to be prepared for it. I remember reading this one book when I was like 18 or 19 called Experiencing God. It was a workbook, and I remember him saying, if you're not, Jesus ain't your thing, just go with me on this. But he said God had promised Abraham a son, Isaac, and he did not deliver on that promise for 25 years later, because he had to match his character with the assignment at hand. So it took him 25 years to get the character in place to have the diamond organization. And so the deal is as you start to rank up, you'll start to notice things in your life start to come out and up. and you have to deal with them. You have to. You cannot manage these kinds of teams without dealing with your junk. They're forced up. That's why when people talk about the personal growth in Young Living, that they say it's such phenomenal things, I've grown so much, that's what it is. This is not handed to you. It is absolutely excruciatingly hard work. And it is painful and it is hard. And I will tell you this, I have gotten my hiney handed to me more times than I can count since April, where I really started to dig in and go to work more than ever. And some days I thought I couldn't make it, and it just sucked. I'm just going to say it. It was rough, and I looked at places and pieces of myself, and I looked up at the Lord going, I don't know if how do you even look at me with love, right? Because my junk was coming out, but I had to deal with it if I was going to go to that next level. And that's part of the vulnerability piece. That's part of doing this work, okay? So, and what ended up happening was I went to work and I did some AFT and I did some emotional release, and I also abundance up a lot and got my thoughts right as well. I took what I was learning from all these aspects and getting crazily hit. And let me tell you, we were at 68K as a team, I believe, in April. You guys, last night was the end of the month. We just hit 123K. Oh my goodness, I can't even begin. The words do not even come to me with what has happened and transpired. We have grown every single month of the summer months, which is mind-blowing to me because the summer is so difficult. And so I tell people, truly, like, what are you doing to grow so fast? What's happening? And I'm like, number one, go to work on yourself. Number two, be authentic and vulnerable with your team. We're going to talk about that in a minute. This is supposed to be drops of gold and short, but I don't want to go too long, so I'm talking fast. And number three, create a team culture. Create an exceptional team culture. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So all of that to say is vulnerability is not weakness. Going to work on your stuff in your emotional life is the crux of it all. Let me just tell you, it is. It is where the birthplace, again, of innovation, creativity, joy comes from. To have this kind of life where you're giving back and you're helping others be free has to come from a place of vulnerability. So if you are a person who shy away from that and think it's all fluff and you don't got time for that, time to go to work. For real. Time to go to work. Do it now versus later, because it just gets worse later, let me tell you. So let ourselves be deeply seen by our teams, by our families, and by ourselves. Let us get real with who we are, who we truly are, not who we're trying to be, not comparing our businesses to other people. Get to know yourself and who you are and what you stand for in your team. To feel vulnerable means we are alive, to believe that you are enough. And when you believe that you are enough, then you can believe for your team what they cannot believe for themselves until they do. Okay, what's next? My question to you guys is, are you vulnerable with your teams? Are you showing up vulnerable with your teams? Or are you acting like you have it all together and you have to lead them and have all the answers and teach them all the things, right? There's a difference. Are you partnering and just coming together and being vulnerable with your people? These are your people. You guys, if you have a downline, you are there for an absolute reason and purpose. You are given a gift. These people are your people. They are your tribe, your community, your whatever you want to call them. They are your gift for you to cherish and to honor and to love on. They are an absolute gem and treasure. So are you being vulnerable with them and showing up in vulnerability? People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. I don't know if you've seen Simon Sinek, but he's another amazing speaker. He wrote, I believe, The Power of Why. There's also another TED Talk for that one, and I can post that as well. It's incredible. I believe it's How Leaders Inspire Action or something like that is what it's called. And he says, people don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. We all know that everybody needs essential oils. We all know that they need what we have. We all know that everybody needs that, right? But that's not the goal. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. So what do you believe? My question I want to ask you tonight is, what do you believe? What does your team believe? It starts with a vulnerable, authentic you, and then it trickles down into your whole organization. This brings us to our next gem. I love this book. It's called You Win in the Locker Room First, The 7 C's to Building a Winning Team in Business, Sports, and Life. It is also by Mike Smith and then John Gordon, who wrote The Energy Bus. And I know a lot of you guys have read The Energy Bus. So I'm going to read from, we're going to have a little reading at night, put you all asleep because it's late. So you first, basically he goes through and he talks about the 7 C's, and we're only going to talk about 2 for time's sake, and then you guys get the book and read it for the rest. It is so full of goodness. Like, I've highlighted so many things. I love it. I love it. I love it. And we're going to talk now on why being authentic and vulnerable builds team culture, and why team culture is so crucial to your business. Let me tell you, like, our team, we don't do a ton of incentives. We don't incentivizing. We don't do a ton of, throwing the baby in with the basket and cutting the price of the PSK down, because there's already value in the PSK, right? The PSK is already half off. There's so much value in it that our job is to communicate that value to our people. And how we do that is through creating a team of culture, a team culture that is in every single thing we do, we say, we post on social media. Is everything we do individually and as a team is story brand. We're telling a story. We have a brand that we have branded ourselves, and we're telling a story, and so do you. And everything you say, you do, you speak, you write, you put on social media, all of it. You are telling a story to other people. And the question is, what story are you telling? And if you haven't gotten clear on who you are as a brand, because your brand isn't who you say you are. Okay, your brand is who others say you are. That was taken from a video from Kari Lewis. She's amazing. Happy with her. Okay, so she's very good at that, and she says it's not who you say you are, it's who others say you are. If you don't know your brand, ask 5 of your best friends to tell you 3 words to describe you. That's who you are. If there's a theme in that, that's who you are. And if you don't like what they're telling you, then go to work to change your brand, right? So there's that as well. So back to this, build your culture up and down. So the first C in the 7 C's is culture. And I'm going to read to you some of my favorite parts. All right. I've always believed that culture is defined and created from the top down, but it comes to life from the bottom up. He also says it was important to have collaborative conversations on a regular basis to discuss the changes we were making and why we were making them. We wanted to have team members who were going to positively represent the organization on and off the field. It was important that we had players who were going to be good teammates and citizens. It wasn't enough to just build a team culture. To have sustained success, we needed a winning organizational culture. And I knew that by working closely with the leadership group to define and set the culture, we would be able to have that. I also knew that to create a successful team on the field, I needed to involve more than just leadership, players, and staff. We needed everyone in the organization to buy in. That means your members. It's not just your builders. You want to get your members enrolled into what you're doing. So if you're sharing what you're up to, you can keep it light. You don't have to say, join our team, be in our business, put all your business stuff in your member group, right? But you can just invite them into your world of what you're up to. Even if they are rocking a 9-to-5 job and they love their job, then they need to get down with their bad selves and do that, because we need more people loving their jobs in the world, whether it's 9-to-5 or it's with us, right? But they can stand on the sidelines and cheer for their people because they know someone in your member group that is rocking it with Young Living, and they can be a part of that and cheer for them and be like, yes, this team is growing. This team is awesome, because you're creating a team culture of positivity and camaraderie and tribe, even though that word is kind of cliche and overused today, right? But you are. And if you aren't, go to work on doing that, because it will transform your business. It will transform your OGB and your growth. I kid you not. And it makes you want to get up in the morning and do life and do your job. So culture consists of the shared purpose, attitudes, values, goals, practices, behaviors, and habits that define a team or organization. Many coaches focus only on the culture shared by the players, but the fact is that everyone in an organization shapes the culture. To be successful, you need everyone in your organization thinking, believing, talking, and behaving in sync. You need everyone to be aligned with the same beliefs, expectations, and behaviors. And we're not talking about how essential oils are awesome, everybody needs them. We're talking about you and your builders coming together and creating something greater than what it would be if you were apart. What is that? Okay, do you guys have that? Have you created that? And are other people drawn to it and are attracted to it, of like, I want to be, because they're not buying again what you think they need. They're buying what they're believing in. Are they believing that, man, I want to be a part of that team. I want to be a part of what they're doing. Are you creating such an amazing, awesome culture that you are just like dynamic and blowing it out of the water where people are just attracted to you all naturally because you're creating something that's greater than the sum of its parts, right? That's synergy. But he said, one team, one culture. I let everyone know that my role was to assist them in doing their jobs, and together we would build a winning team. Then throughout the years, I backed up my words with actions, and I believe this had a big impact on our overall culture and success. As a leader, it is so important that your words equal your actions. It is imperative that you make sure that you go through a self-evaluation process on an almost daily basis to make sure that your actions are in line with your words. You must do what you say and say what you do. It is your culture that will determine whether your strategy works and is sustainable. It is the culture you create that is going to determine whether your players perform and execute. If you guys create an amazing team culture, they will go to the ends of the earth for you. Do you know why? Because they know that you will go to the ends of the earth for them. It's so powerful. That is what we do on my team. I feel that my people know that when they put their yes on the table, all in, I will go to the ends of the earth for them and with them. I will not enable them. We do not handhold. We have a culture that is no drama, that is not handholding, and that is not waiting around for someone to build. If you want it, you go get it. And they know that, and they do, and you watch them rise. Your job as a leader is to call forth their greatness and to watch them rise into that potential. And anyone can do it. Don't tell me that this, because I even did it the other day. I was like, oh, she got a lot of baggage. I don't know about her. Anyone can do this. And what's the beautiful part about it is when you believe so much for them more than they believe for themselves until they do. And when that day comes when they do, you all will sing and dance and say hallelujah and cry tears of joy because they have passed and surpassed milestones that they never thought that they could. Right? That is what this is about. This is why this is such a bigger than essential oils. This is about wellness, purpose, and abundance because it started with Gary and Mary at the top down. They're the ones who started this in the first place. They built the team culture. The team culture started with them. They're giving. They want freedom for all, wellness, purpose, and abundance, and that should trickle down to us in excitement where we ignite our teams with fire and passion, right? As leaders into our teams, everything we do, they pick up on. All right, I'm gonna keep going. I'm going all crazy. I'm talking fast. All right. Culture drives expectations and beliefs. Expectations and beliefs drive behaviors. Behaviors drive habits, and habits create the future. If you look at the most successful organization in business, sports, healthcare, and education, you notice they all have great cultures. You must spend more time on building your culture than on everything else. Culture is what produces wins over time. What do we stand for, and what do we want to be known for? That's a question that you can ask. We know who our people are, and we know who fits our culture. Another thing is that Apple is famous for saying that culture beats strategy. What you stand for drives everything else. And when your culture dictates your decisions, you will enjoy sustained success. All right, so that's culture. And now the next one I want to wrap up with, and then there's 7 tools. We're only going to do one more, and I'll wrap it up because I know it's late. All right, the next one is contagious. And I think we may not do a lot of things well as our team, but I think that we're very contagious, and I love it. It's so exciting. Research from the Heart Math Institute shows that when you have a feeling in your heart, it goes to every cell in the body, then outward. And other people up to 10 feet away can sense feelings transmitted by your heart. This means that each day you are broadcasting to your team how you feel. You are either broadcasting positive energy or negative energy. You are either or apathy or passion or indifference or purpose. Research from Harvard University also supports the idea that the emotions you feel are contagious and affect the people around you. Your team is just as likely to catch your bad mood as the swine flu, and on the flip side, they will catch your good mood as well. And this principle applies to everyone, not just the leader. Each member of your team is contagious, and every day you're all either sharing positive or negative energy with each other. Great cultures are built with positive, contagious energy, so it is essential that you and your team share it. When you walk into the locker room, the office, or onto the field, or in Facebook groups, you have a decision to make. Are you going to be a germ to your team or a big dose of vitamin C? Will you infuse your team with positive energy or be an energy vampire and suck the life out of them? A powerful way for leaders to be contagious is to share a positive vision and mission with their team. Every team needs to have a vision and mission to unite them and serve as a North Star to guide them in the right direction. Your vision and mission should be simple, clear, bold, and compelling. I'm not talking about a string of buzzwords and jargon that mean nothing to your team members, but rather something tangible and exciting to serve as a rallying cry and focal point for your team. So an example from the business world, long before Let's Build a Smarter Planet was IBM's advertising tagline. It served as an internal vision and mission for everyone to sell, build, and design projects that made data more useful for clients. So something you can do, you guys, and I challenge you to do it, is that if you haven't yet, create a vision and a mission statement for your team. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Come together with some of your top leaders if you're teaming together, or just for yourself, and infuse that onto your people. What it is. So for us, we're called the Oily Renegades, rebels with an oily cause, and a vision for us, or a mission statement for us, is when we know better, we do better. And a mission statement is also very like Gary Young's, and it is to get oils into the hands of everyone in every home, and for wellness purpose and abundance and time freedom. So something that comes out of that is when we know better, we do better, is that we're so committed to our people getting the crap out of their lives. I'm just going to say it, that it's like do or die, that we will find a way to show you what we have that you need to believe in, that we're going to bring to the table for you to switch out, or whatever it is. So an example would be, one of my builders literally is not interested in a sign up. She's interested in the lifestyle. She will not even sign someone up if she knows that they won't jump on ER. What? That's crazy. That's mic drop. All right, we have a 45% ER rate and 123,000 OGV. So that to me is mind-blowing, that our people are legitimately like, you sign up, you're getting on ER. There's not even a negotiable. We're that contagious, and that's our team culture. Something that comes out of our team too as well is like hashtag Renegades Rise, hashtag Changing Lives, a rising tide lifts all boats, and then our symbol is an arrow. And I'll read you the little quote of it, our arrow. I'm just giving you guys this as an example, just because you think these are all like simplistic, it doesn't matter things, but they really matter at the end of the day of communicating. And you guys know the Happy Oilers. They are so phenomenal, and a complete example of how they do this. They have created something so epic and amazing to be a part of that people want to join what's bigger than them, what's bigger than life, and what's bigger than what they've provided and what they've created as a team. It is amazing, and people want to be a Happy Oiler because of what they believe in and what they're buying into. So an arrow can only be shot by pulling it backward. When life is dragging you back with difficulties, it means it's going to launch you into something great. So just focus and keep aiming. And that's our arrow symbol, because my team, my girls, my guys, they have been through so much in the last 2 years. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Deaths, divorce, life change, moves, family, stuff. And yet our teams, as you guys feel probably the same way about yours, they keep going anyway, and they grow, and they do it anyway, and they show up, and it is incredible. So the last thing is that research shows that people are most energized when they are contributing to a bigger cause beyond themselves. So essential oils is one of the things, but your team creates its own culture. What is the culture you're creating? When your team has a greater vision and purpose, they will play with greater passion and energy. You guys, we have yellows, blues, reds, and greens on our team, and they show up because if you as a leader can be authentically vulnerable to yourself, and then you can reach into others, okay? You can reach into others and have them see their why so strong that nothing will stop them. No, people aren't showing up to my classes. No, something really bad happened to me this month. No, my kids are in my face all the time. No matter what, they are so hungry to make their why come true that you are standing in the gaps for them, holding that with them, not enabling, but empowering them to go after that so strong that nothing, no force of nature, nothing will stop them from going after that. Come hell or high water, they're going for it. And that's a team that's on fire. And that's your job as a leader, is to inspire and to instill that and to create the culture and to be contagious, that contagious passion that bubbles up every day you show up to work. You guys, that's our job as leaders, okay? And to duplicate that to our leaders so that they may duplicate it, and on and on and on. So if you're not duplicating, look at how you're showing up as a leader. Vulnerability, authenticity, culture, contagious. Duke University found, Oh, this is another thing. Winning doesn't begin just in the locker room. It also begins in the mind. You win in the mind first, and then you win on the field or the court. Often the difference between success and failure is belief. Does the team believe they can win? Have their preparation, practice, and focus given them the confidence that they can? Do they stay positive and optimistic through adversity and challenges? Pete Carroll said, "The world trains to be pessimistic." One of the most important things I must do here is to make sure my players and staff believe that tomorrow will be better than today. Do you believe in them that much? Even when they're not building like you think they should be building, even if, they're off doing this, that, and the other thing, and if they are, let them go. More will come through that you need anyway, right? Because we're not enablers, we're empowerers. Leadership is a transfer of belief, and it is essential that you share positive beliefs with your team, especially from the beginning. And I will leave you with this because I know it's late and it's time for everyone to go to sleep, right? I will say, again, believe for them what they cannot believe for themselves until they do. Stand on the other side of the cliff with an outstretched arm, with your hand held open wide. Look them straight in the eye with all the belief you can and the courage you can into their eye, and ask them to jump. Ask them to leap. Ask them to take the leap of faith with you. And some will and some won't, and that's okay. Some won't have the courage to do it. The courage, like we talked about, they can't dig, they can't get vulnerable, they can't go there. They've got too many fears or excuses, or I'm building but I'm not really building. Well, they're not builders anyway, kind of thing going on. Let them go. But the people where you stand and you hold out your hand and say, come do this with me. Let's do this together. I will believe for you more than what you can believe for yourself until you do. And when they say yes, they're all yeses in. And when they leap and when they jump and when they do, you are there, and you guys will celebrate, and you will dance, and you will laugh, and you will rise. You will rise, and you'll see their businesses flourish and grow, and their whys coming true. I have somebody who lives behind pesticides, and she can't wait to the day when her paycheck is big enough to where she can move. And on that day, when she gets to move out of it, we are going to dance and celebrate like it's nobody's business, right? Because that's what we're here for. We're here for a greater purpose of wellness, purpose, abundance, and freedom, you guys. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you for listening just to some of the things that have been stirring on my heart for vulnerability, authenticity, and what it means to create a team culture. Get this book and read the rest of the 7 C's. It's pretty phenomenal and powerful. Lots of good nuggets and tips. And I can get all the other stuff I talked about posted. And I'm so excited to see you guys just lead your teams with so much fervor, because your teams, they love you. They love you. You are here over them, and their upline, you're their upline for a reason. If you have a downline, then you are there as their upline for a reason. So just love on your people. All right, you guys, thank you so much, and good night.